Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a look at something that is absolutely everywhere, yet rarely deconstructed. We're talking about the massive digital empire that's literally shaping modern children's entertainment. I am incredibly excited to explore this with you, because when you look closely at the architecture of these stories, you realize they're doing so much more than just keeping kids busy. They are delivering a remarkably consistent message. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale and influence we're dealing with today, just consider this number, 45.9 million. That's the combined massive subscriber count of just 3 YouTube channels, Disney Junior, Disney Kids, and Marvel HQ. We are talking about billions of cumulative views spread out across thousands of shorts, full episodes, and live streams. This isn't just a random collection of shows, It's a heavily consumed digital diet. So what exactly is the nutritional value of this diet? What are the core pillars holding up the whole shebang?
Let's jump into part 1, Power of the Helpers, Everyday Chaos Managed Together.
If you've ever seen Minnie Mouse and Daisy Duck in their Happy Helper series, you'll know they operate on a highly effective, incredibly repetitive narrative loop. It goes like this. Step 1, they get a call for help at their office. Step 2, they jump into their spinning closet, the turnstiler, and they almost always put on the entirely wrong outfits first. It's a great little recurring gag. And then step 3, they hop in their van and fix the problem as a team. It's simple, it's predictable, and it's brilliant at reinforcing the concept of service to others.
And the problems they run into? Absolutely wild everyday chaos. One minute, they're chasing Hilda's runaway sheepdog Snowpuff before she ends up taking a spin inside a laundromat washing machine. The next, they're literally negotiating with a mama and baby gorilla who climbed onto a roof, bribing them down with Clarabelle's freshly baked banana bread. They even travel to London and have to scrub massive amounts of grease off the gears of Big Ben, just so it can chime in time for their tea with the Queen. The chaos is ridiculous, but their method for solving it never changes.
That method is distilled perfectly into their motto, "What works better is when we work together." We see this explicitly when Minnie and Daisy have a super competitive window washing race against Donald Duck. They start off trying to outdo each other, using giant robotic brushes versus squeegees, but they only actually succeed when they combine their efforts. Even when they're guiding this notoriously grumpy travel writer named Robbie Roberts through Rome, they turn a totally boring history tour into a fun game of gladiator shield soccer. They constantly prove that working together is always the ultimate solution. Moving on to part 2, Heroes and Teamwork. Super geniuses need help too. So, let's step out of the quiet streets of Hot Dog Hills and jump into the high-energy world of Marvel HQ. The contrast and stakes here is striking. On one hand, you have Minnie and Daisy rushing to bake a 7-layer pink buttercream birthday cake for a little girl named Susie, and they literally have to launch it through the air just to get it to the party on time. On the other hand, you have Iron Man stopping an angry Ultron, or the Avengers battling a supervillain team called the Legion of Lokis. But here's the catch. The underlying requirement taught to the viewer remains exactly the same. You cannot do it alone. There are fantastic anecdotes from the Marvel HQ universe proving that even absolute super geniuses like Tony Stark have to rely on their friends. We see Team Spidey coming together to save the local library. We see Black Panther swooping in to help Iron Man stop a villain named Swarm. We've got Iron Man and Iron Hulk teaming up to stop Loki on a pier. And my personal favorite, after the epic battle is won, we even see the rock-solid hero The Thing grabbing a broom and helping clean up Loki's messy aftermath. Being a hero means pitching in no matter your power level. So, we've seen how to handle runaway pets and rampaging villains. But I want to ask you this. What happens when the monster you're fighting isn't external at all? What happens when the monster is just your own fear?
That brings us to part 3, Heart of the 100 Acre, Emotional Intelligence.
Let's step into the gentle, emotionally grounded space of Winnie the Pooh. Piglet's heroic journey illustrates a hilarious but really poignant progression. In the morning, Piglet goes to the movies and is utterly terrified by a giant movie monster spider named Brazilla. Later that afternoon, Tigger decides to make his own monster movie, but he gets hopelessly stuck inside a giant orange carrot costume. Everyone runs away in an absolute panic, leaving Tigger trapped. Finally, in the evening, Piglet actually overcomes his paralyzing fear to bravely face the giant carrot because he genuinely believes he has to save his best friend Pooh Bear. But before Piglet finds that courage, he hits a real emotional low. He says, "Not only am I a very small animal, I'm a worthless, no good, can't even save my best friend type of animal." That is heavy, right? It shows the real emotional stakes involved. Piglet temporarily believes he has failed Pooh, and he's ready to just walk away from his friends because he thinks he's a fraidy cat. The threat here isn't a villain, it's a complete lack of self-worth.
So how is this solved? Well, it definitely isn't a magical superpower that saves the day. Pooh simply brings Piglet's Christopher Robin's white hero scarf. It's literally just a piece of fabric, but it grants Piglet the emotional resilience and confidence he needs to march right up to that giant carrot and demand it let his friend go. It's a beautiful lesson in how support from a friend can help you conquer your own internal doubts.
And speaking of emotional lessons, let's pivot to another fascinating event in the 100-Acre Wood, on Valentine's Day. Yes, an entire holiday formally canceled by Rabbit. Why? Because the previous year, the sheer volume of Valentine's cards caused an absolute fiasco. Cards were everywhere, tunnels were totally clogged, and Rabbit's house was such a mess he couldn't even find it. So to prevent the chaos, Rabbit makes everyone promise not to give a single gift.
To understand why Rabbit went to such extremes, just look at the hilarious disparity from the previous year. Winnie the Pooh received somewhere around 200,000 cards. Tigger claims he received 1 quadrillion cards, but the most important number here is that Eeyore received 0. Not a single card, and that lingering sadness sets up the emotional core of this entire story.
Despite Rabbit's strict no-gifts rule, someone anonymously leaves a pot of honey at Pooh's door. This sets off a massive chain reaction of secret gift-giving, totally breaking the promise. And who was the original rule breaker? It was Eeyore. He admitted, felt bad not joining in the fun last year, thought I'd do something about it this year. It's an incredibly touching moment that beautifully illustrates the underlying message. You really can't cancel showing people that you care about them.
So how do they solve this problem without clogging Rabbit's tunnels with paper all over again? They compromise through collaboration. Rabbit decides to write and direct an original play as a comic Valentine for Christopher Robin. It's a massive team effort, complete with Piglet hilariously flubbing his lines while suspended in the air, just repeating, "I am Cupid, bringer of love." It's messy, a lot goes wrong, but they do it together, and it ends up being a massive success.
Let's bring all these threads together now in part 4. Lessons in every laugh, synthesizing the diet.
When you look at the core pillars across these billions of views, you see a clear pattern. Whether characters are facing physical, external chaos, like runaway gorillas on a roof, an angry Ultron, or a sinking hot dog trailer, or internal hurdles, like Piglet's paralyzing fear or Eeyore's feelings of being left out, the solution taught to viewers is identical. The environment changes, sure, but the core mechanic of success does not.
And that brings us to the main takeaway of this entire explainer. The message being relentlessly broadcast to young viewers is simple yet profound. Collaboration is the ultimate superpower. It really doesn't matter if you're wearing a high-tech iron suit or a simple white hero scarf made of cloth. You are stronger when you work alongside your friends.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder. We all know that repetition is the mother of learning, right? So when 45.9 million subscribers are consistently fed this carefully structured digital diet, a diet where every single problem, big or small, is solved through empathy and teamwork, how do these repetitive formulas of teamwork and bravery ultimately shape the worldview of the next generation? It's a fascinating question, and definitely one worth keeping in mind the next time you hear a call for the Happy Helpers or the Avengers. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you on the next one.